Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Sir Sloppy, and today we're going to be doing my completely honest review of Call of Duty Cold War. To start off, I'm going to be separating this game into three different sections, one being campaign, the other being multiplayer, and lastly, zombies. Quick note before we get into the campaign, there will be slight spoilers, so if you haven't played through the campaign or intend to play through the campaign, please skip ahead to the multiplayer section that I will have timestamped below. So to start off, this campaign was actually very intriguing. I haven't really felt this way for a Call of Duty in a considerable amount of time. Most Call of Duties have a mediocre campaign, as I wasn't really as impressed with Modern Warfare's campaign. It had its moments, but for the most part, it didn't really shine in areas that I've seen other Call of Duties that had a campaign. Black Ops 4. It didn't really have as many shining moments as others have. Although this one did surprised me in the end. It had a very, very strong story arc and had a very, very good character development of the main protagonist of the game, which is your character, who goes by the name of Bell. You actually get to customize your character, unlike a lot of other games. You get to morph the background of your character, and you get to, I guess you get to change the skin color of your hand, because you don't really get to see your character in full scope. However, that's just a very small portion of the choices that you can make actually in this campaign. This story offers a multitude of different outcomes and decisions that you have to make within each mission. Some vary between a handful of choices and others not so many, but for the most part your choices do impact the progression of your campaign experience. And I've always liked the idea of this. It really offers for the player to run their own storyline instead of go on a 100% set path, and there are also little nods and Easter eggs towards the end of the campaign that you can just completely avoid the directions, and you end up getting, achievements and trophies, but I won't be going over that because that's a whole nother video. The Cold War campaign also implemented a gamble on introducing side missions. The reason I say it was a gamble is because Call of Duty side missions, sometimes they don't have the strongest story. The closest thing that we've really seen to side missions was Black Ops 2, but they weren't necessarily really side missions. They were kind of detrimental to the story. When I first initially saw these side missions, I had the worry that they weren't really going to mean anything to the initial plot. However, I was very wrong. I actually really enjoyed these side missions, and you actually have to collect evidence in other story missions to actually either A, get into the side missions, or B, go in with more information and regarding to secret materials and items within each mission. Overall, the campaign has three main endings: the good ending, the bad ending, and the another bad ending, basically. I have done 2 out of these 3 endings, getting the 2 main ones at the end, the good and the bad, and then the other random bad one that I still haven't done yet. Overall, the ending of this campaign was very, very solid. It does throw a curveball to you at the end. I did say there will be slight spoilers, but I won't spoil the very end of the campaign. It actually did make me hate some things, and I actually got some emotions going. It wasn't, life or death, but still there. One thing I'd like to touch up on the campaign is that the combat and the scenarios were actually very engaging. There were a handful of stealth missions that I thought were a lot of fun, and you can really play them however you want. Of course, I chose usually stealth, but my first playthrough around, stealth typically didn't like to work, and had to approach loud. Most of the gameplay footage you guys are seeing here is through my second playthrough on realism mode, and as I was playing through this second playthrough, I was realizing things that I hadn't realized in my first playthrough. Since choices do matter, playing another playthrough of a campaign that has a multitude of choices is always cool to see the outcomes of those choices. And not to mention that throughout even the beginning of the campaign, you can start to pick up little notes on where your main character's origin is. And I'm not going to spoil where it's at, but if you investigate around and talk to each of your team members, you can start piecing together what exactly is going on and realize the full scope of what is going on. Of course, the first time I played through this game, I wasn't really focused on this, and me focusing on talking to team members wasn't really a priority. However, within the safe room and within other regions of the campaign, there are loads of secrets for players to find, and you're likely going to have to go back and find them again within the missions unless you watch a YouTube video solely on finding these secret items. Overall, this campaign was great. I really have no concerns or disappointments on what the campaign had to offer. It was a really solid take on what Call of Duty should be. I'm happy with it. The only thing that I wish was different about the campaign is that it was a hair too short. It was kind of sad to see that there were only a handful of main missions with, the other handful of side missions. But the extra stuff that you are able to do within these story missions that change the progression for the end is it does make up for it. So all in all, I'm happy about the campaign, and I'm looking forward to what Call of Duty does next. So onto the rating of the campaign. I'm going to give this campaign a solid 9 out of 10. It loses a point just because of its length, and there were a handful of bugs regarding the stealth. The stealth wasn't as great as it was in Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare set the stakes high when it came to stealth within the campaign. Other than that, a really solid campaign, great endings, great story, and great secrets all throughout the campaign. Next, we are going to tackle the beast of what I like to call a shit show of Call of Duty multiplayer. Generically, Call of Duty multiplayer is the same every year, with a handful of unique things thrown into the bundle of absolute joy Call of Duty multiplayer is. However, this Call of Duty multiplayer does fall flat on new content and new ideas. Generically speaking, there are a handful, if not, to my correction, there are only 2 to 3 new game modes. And the 2 that I can name off the top of my head, for the others I don't care for, is VIP Escort and Dirty Bomb. Dirty Bomb is really just Battle Royale mixed in with you gotta blow up bombs, and that's really about it. It's a very team-based game mode, and it does have potential. For right now, where the meta is at in the game, it can sometimes be very non-enjoyable whenever you see one random guy running across Godspeed of the map with a Spaz 12, sucking kids off with their buckshot. It's not enjoyable whenever it comes down to that. And there are vehicles in the game mode, but they don't really mesh well with the way Call of Duty combat really works. It's more of a Battlefield thing, but this isn't the first time Call of Duty's introduced vehicles. As most of everyone here watching knows, Modern Warfare did have ground war, and I thought it was a pretty well executed game mode. There were very few flaws, but with Dirty Bomb, it's not so much. The TTK, I feel like, is just too fast in this game to actually pull anything viable off. So moving from Dirty Bomb, there really isn't a whole lot to say about Call of Duty Cold War multiplayer. It has a certain vibe to it that just feels like sometimes you just can't win no matter what, and I'm talking about meta. So the base multiplayer has a core and hardcore mode of consisting 12 maps, not including Nuketown, which that's its own beast to tackle. And the maps really aren't that great. They're very, very basic Call of Duty maps, boots on ground maps, as we're very, very accustomed to. Most of the maps in this game either seem redundant or just annoying to play on due to the way they're set up and the way the guns in Cold War act. They just don't seem really appropriate for this type of game. And let me reiterate where I said there were 12 maps. Some of these maps can only be played in certain game modes. So at most, in a core game mode, you're going to be playing roughly 8 to 10 maps, depending on rotation. Overall, generally speaking, I'm not very impressed with the way multiplayer has been executed in this game. The prestige system is wonky. I don't like it. If they were going to implement a typical Black Ops prestige system, I would have much rather they would have gone with a Black Ops 2 or even a Black Ops 3 system. The way they're doing it now is just very, very off-kiltering. Of course, there are, as of right now, only 3 prestiges in the game, and they're adding more with the season pass that is dropping this month and should be dropping soon. I don't have a release date on it, but it's probably out there somewhere. But I remember just, I get through my first prestige and I get these prestige keys, but I can't do anything with it, and that's because none of the content for the prestige keys or the actual full master prestiging, all of that, isn't included in the game. It is going to be in the first season. And I was expecting this in a Call of Duty that came from Modern Warfare. I actually did enjoy the season pass system of Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It was enjoyable some seasons, other seasons it was kind of lackluster. But I'm going to stay optimistic about Cold War season passes, and hope for the best. Moving on to the wonderful world of why people play Call of Duty multiplayer. Skins. Now, I've always been a big fan ever since Call of Duty Black Ops 3 on getting the biggest and baddest skin that shows that I have balls and no one else does. However, with this game, it is a miserable process on obtaining skins in this game. For some unknown reason, it is damn near impossible to get gold within the amount of time you could have gotten gold in Modern Warfare. And I could have gotten gold on every single AR in Modern Warfare faster than I could have in Call of Duty Cold War, because there is a significant less amount of guns in this game than there has been in a lot of Call of Duties recently. I mean, just take for example how we only have 2 shotguns, and you can put them as a secondary. Not to mention that the shotguns are absolutely broken in this game. I shouldn't be able to take out a little bitch baby who's camping in a bush from sniper range with a Spaz 12. Anyway, that's enough of me talking about this joke of a multiplayer cycle. I'd give this a solid 6 out of 10, just because it's Call of Duty and I can still seem entertained by absolutely murking kids in multiplayer and getting absolutely mauled by meta using kids. All in all, not a great multiplayer. It needs changes, and for the love of God, Treyarch, please add more operators. I really hate seeing 6 woods on my team, and I don't even have words. I don't have words for seeing everybody on the same team use the same operator. At least in Modern Warfare, we had, you know, variety. And we had new operator skins. We had operator skins mainly. So even if you were using the same operator, you look different. Anyway, I'm done talking about the shitstorm that I'd like to call a good multiplayer, because it is very far from that. It has its flaws. It does shine in some areas. However, it's just, for me personally, coming from other Call of Duties, it's not there for me. That's why I'm sticking with the flat 6 out of 10. I might even go 5.5, because there are some aspects I just cannot fathom the developers actually saying this is good. So lastly, the moment I've been waiting for, the redeeming quality that can pick up multiplayer's ass from the ground that it shoveled its cruel and disgusting self into. Call of Duty Cold War Zombies. So my initial thought process was, this Zombies is going to redeem Black Ops. I absolutely hated Black Ops 4 Zombies. I did find a sort of love-hate relationship with Black Ops 3 Zombies, and the prime of my Zombies days were in Black Ops 2, by far. I remember being a little sweaty 14-year-old, I don't even know what age I was at that time, some little sweaty kid trying to bust my ass off to get all the stabs in Black Ops 2 Origins. I remember that, and it was amazing. With this game, I sort of kind of feel that again, which is a good thing. There are a lot of aspects to cover in this release of Zombies. Die Machine is just a wonderful starting map. It has everything you would expect. I can't go into extreme detail, otherwise we'd be here for another 30 minutes, and I do not want a 45-minute long video to edit. So we're just going to run this over simple and base it on a critique view. So we're going to start with the map and the art. I absolutely love the style that they've chosen for this map. It is great, it fits the theme of the game, and overall it's a solid map. I don't really have much complaints over it. Of course there are always two sides, people saying that the map's too small or too big. I find a happy middle ground with it and can enjoy a game of zombies whenever I choose to. The way they have done their gun ranking system and tier system is phenomenal. I absolutely love it, as well as the introduction to tiers of Pack-a-Punch. That is also a great addition to, I think is a great addition to zombies in a whole. As for Easter egg and secrets, I really haven't done a whole lot of Easter egg stuff yet. I've kind of just been enjoying zombies for what zombies is just for the enjoyment. I feel like after a little bit more time spent in zombies, I will pursue Easter eggs, but from what I've seen, the Easter eggs are solid and the story is there, and I have very high hopes for this Call of Duty Zombies storyline. As for game mechanics, they're solid. There are a couple things that I wish would work a little bit better. I feel like the effects or the field upgrades that you can equip sometimes tend not to work, which has resulted in premature death. But overall, the new zombie hit-taking system where they actually flinch and you can get out of situations is really nice, and as well as the boss phases and hellhounds. I really have enjoyed this new type of zombie boss. Not to mention that this Zombies introduced a very similar thing to what Mob of the Dead did in Black Ops 2. It introduced a Ether, which is basically just another worldly dimension that you can go in and you can find secret stuff. This is detrimental for the Easter egg and also other things like Pack-a-Punch. Overall, it's visually stunning. I really enjoyed the mechanics, and the only thing I really would have to harp on Call of Duty Zombies is the lack of perks and the lack of perk upgrades and field upgrades for players to continue upgrading. So this leads us to the final review of Zombies, and I will give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. There could be more content in certain areas, but overall the experience is enjoyable and you don't really get bored of it, in my opinion. So we have finally made it towards the end of this ranking for all three categories, and let me just say I've been modestly enjoying this game, especially with the haptic feedback that the PlayStation 5 has to offer for this game. It is just overall a great experience. But alas, we get into our contenders in the arena. We have the solid 9 out of 10 for the campaign, which is just a brute warrior that was super enjoyable to just go up against. And then we have the deformed child in the corner that we like to call Cold War multiplayer, that screams in agony whenever you look at it with any shroud of hope of being good. Overall, just a modest slap in the balls all the time, and whenever you get some shroud of hope that you think you're having fun, you just get your balls waxed. It is just painful. And we all know the rating of this is going to be substantially low, which is a solid 5.5 out of 10. We already know who is in the bottom shelf of all three categories. But then lastly, we have Cold War Zombies, which is sitting at a very solid 8.5 out of 10. Overall, great experience in Zombies. Very, very few concerns or dislikes with this category, and yeah, that pretty much sums up this ranking. If we look at all of these added up and averaged out, we're looking at a C grade game with multiplayer really pulling down the strings for it. Hey guys, that pretty much sums it up for this honest review. If you guys would like to see more of these, please let me know down in the comment sections. I'd be willing to do these for a multitude of games. I do have quite a bit lined up that I am willing to play through for the first time that I've neglected for a long time. And yeah, that sums everything up. I will see you guys in the next video.